If you're a man over 60 and you're waking up at night to pee again and again, or standing there waiting for your stream to finally start, let me stop you right now. This is not just normal aging. I am Dr. Emily Grant, prostate doctor, and every week I see men unknowingly making their prostates irritated, swollen, and reactive simply because of what they drink. Not the volume, but the exact drinks. Coffee, alcohol, soda. They look harmless in a cup or a can, but inside your body they behave like fuel poured on glowing coals, keeping inflammation alive day after day. Here's why that matters. Your prostate sits right below your bladder and wraps around your urethra like a sleeve. When calm, it lets urine flow easily. When inflamed, it swells, that sleeve tightens, and suddenly your bladder has to strain. Over time, this constant cycle of irritation and pressure trains your urinary system into bad habits. More urgency, weaker flow, restless nights. And because these changes creep in slowly, most men shrug it off as just getting older. But often, it isn't age at all. It's the daily drinks, quietly steering your prostate in the wrong direction. Let's start with the most common culprit: coffee and caffeinated tea. Caffeine is a stimulant. That is why it wakes your brain. But it also wakes your bladder. It increases urine production and ramps up bladder activity, which means more trips, more urgency, and more nighttime awakenings. On top of that, coffee is naturally acidic. For a bladder that is already on edge, acidity can feel like sandpaper. The result is a double hit: more urine to move through a tighter channel, and a lining that is easier to irritate. Even decaf is not truly caffeine-free, and strong black teas and energy drinks can be just as provocative. If your morning mug is large, strong, and gulped on an empty stomach, you have created the perfect storm for a jittery bladder and a touchy prostate before the day even starts. Now, I am not here to scold you into a joyless life. I am here to help you swap smartly. If you love coffee, you can keep the ritual and lower the sting. First, shrink the dose. A smaller cup sipped slowly is gentler than a giant mug chugged fast. Second, change the timing. Front-load your caffeine in the first half of the day and cut it off by early afternoon. That single change can dramatically reduce nighttime trips. Third, reduce the irritant load. Many men do better with half-calf, cold brew, typically lower in acidity, or truly low-acid blends. If tea is your thing, pivot toward green tea earlier in the day and herbal infusions later. Rooibos, chamomile, ginger, or peppermint can keep the comfort of a warm cup without poking the bladder. There is also a hydration paradox I want you to understand. When you rely on caffeinated drinks to hydrate, you often end up underhydrated. Mild dehydration concentrates your urine. Think of it as turning a creek into syrup. And concentrated urine stings the bladder lining, so you feel the urge more, not less. The fix is simple. Pair every cup of caffeinated coffee or tea with plain water. I teach my patients the 1-for-1 rule. 1 glass of water for every caffeinated drink, preferably within the same hour. Spread your water during the day, lighten up in the evening, and let your bladder rest at night. Your stomach matters too. Caffeine on an empty stomach hits harder. A small protein-rich breakfast, yogurt, eggs, oats with nuts slows absorption, steadies your energy, and softens caffeine's punch to the bladder. If you add milk to coffee, notice how you feel. Some men find dairy soothing, others notice more mucus and bloating, which can worsen pelvic pressure. Pay attention to your body's feedback and adjust. I also want you to think about temperature and speed. Scalding hot coffee, finished in 5 minutes, bathes the bladder in a rapid wave of warmth and stimulation. Lukewarm or warm, not boiling, sipped over 20 to 30 minutes is far kinder. It is the same total amount, but a very different experience for your pelvic tissues. Small changes like this are often what move the needle for men who think they have tried everything. What about energy coffees or sweet iced coffees? The added sugars, syrups, and artificial sweeteners can further irritate the bladder and spike insulin, which promotes systemic inflammation, unhelpful anywhere, especially around a sensitive prostate. If you like a little sweetness, try cinnamon, a touch of honey, or vanilla extract. If you enjoy iced coffee, consider cold brew cut with water or oat milk, and sip it alongside a glass of plain water, rather than instead of it. Before you decide your prostate is just old, give it 2 weeks of calmer mornings. Keep the ritual, change the inputs, downsize the cup, choose half-calf or low acid, pair with water, stop caffeine by early afternoon. Eat before you drink it. Track your nights and your urgency. Most men are surprised by how quickly their bladder voice softens when the daily poke of caffeine and acid quiets down. It is not about deprivation. It is about choosing comfort over compulsion, clarity over habit. Your prostate will notice the difference often faster than you think. The second category of drinks I want you to pay attention to is alcohol. Many men assume that a glass of wine, a cold beer, or a nightcap of whiskey is harmless, maybe even healthy in moderation. But when it comes to your prostate and bladder, alcohol is a silent agitator. It is a diuretic, which means it tells your kidneys to release more urine. That alone increases frequency and urgency. But alcohol also relaxes smooth muscle tissue, including the sphincter that helps control the flow of urine. The combination is a bladder that fills faster and a valve that holds less tightly. For a man with even mild prostate enlargement, this can spell trouble: more trips to the bathroom, weaker flow, and disrupted sleep. There is another layer to alcohol's effect: inflammation. Alcohol increases blood sugar, alters hormone balance, and irritates the lining of the urinary tract. Over time, this creates low-grade inflammation not just in the bladder but in the prostate itself. Think of it as a constant background irritation, like rubbing sandpaper lightly across the same spot every day. At first, you may not notice much, but after months and years, the tissue thickens, swells, and stiffens. That is one of the reasons men who drink daily, even just a little, often complain of worsening urinary symptoms by their 60s and 70s. Different drinks trigger different problems. Beer, for example, brings both alcohol and carbonation. Carbonation increases pressure in the bladder and can make urgency more dramatic. Many beers also contain gluten, yeast, and additives that contribute to bloating, which pushes directly against the pelvic organs. Wine contains natural acids and sugars that add to irritation, and some men find red wine particularly harsh on their bladders. Spirits like whiskey, rum, or vodka may have fewer carbohydrates, but because they are often consumed quickly or on an empty stomach, they can cause sharp swings in blood sugar and sudden diuretic effects. The body does not forget these jolts. So, what can you do if you enjoy alcohol but want to protect your prostate? The first step is to become intentional. Save alcohol for special occasions instead of making it a nightly habit. That single shift can cut your exposure dramatically. The second step is to choose more prostate-friendly options. If you like wine, try dry varieties with lower sugar content, and alternate each glass with water. If you prefer beer, explore non-alcoholic versions, many of which now taste remarkably close to the original but without the same impact on your urinary tract. If you drink spirits, keep the portions small, sip slowly, and always pair with water and food to cushion the effect. Timing also matters. Drinking alcohol late in the evening is one of the fastest ways to guarantee multiple nighttime awakenings. Even if you fall asleep easily, alcohol disrupts deep sleep and drives your bladder to fill. If you enjoy a drink, have it with dinner and cut off alcohol at least 3 to 4 hours before bedtime. That gives your body time to process it and reduces the risk of midnight urgency. I often tell my patients, the earlier the glass, the quieter the night. Another practical step is to add anti-inflammatory support when you do drink. Hydrate generously, include fiber and protein with your meal, and consider natural buffers like lemon water or ginger tea afterward. These small actions help calm your digestive and urinary systems and reduce the inflammatory load on your prostate. Remember, it is not about perfection, it is about balance. Every supportive choice helps tilt the scale toward comfort. It is worth noting that heavy long-term alcohol use has been linked not only to urinary symptoms but also to hormonal imbalances that affect prostate growth. Alcohol interferes with testosterone metabolism and can raise estrogen levels, both of which contribute to an enlarged prostate over time. That means even if your urinary symptoms feel manageable now, the hidden effects may be setting you up for bigger problems in the future. Moderation is not just about today's comfort, it is about tomorrow's health. Some men tell me, "Doctor, I've been drinking every evening for decades. Isn't it too late to change?" The answer is no. Your body is remarkably adaptive. Within weeks of cutting back, many men notice lighter nights, fewer trips to the bathroom, and stronger flow. Within months, inflammation markers in the body begin to settle. The earlier you make the shift, the more room you give your prostate to heal and calm down. It is never about punishment, it is about giving your body the environment it needs to thrive. If alcohol has been your go-to for relaxation, I encourage you to explore alternatives. Herbal teas, sparkling water with lime, or even alcohol-free cocktails can provide the ritual without the irritation. Many men discover that what they were craving was not the alcohol itself, but the pause, the comfort, the signal to unwind. You can keep the ritual, just swap the fuel. Your bladder and prostate will thank you, and you may be surprised by how much better you sleep, how much more energy you have in the morning, and how much lighter your body feels overall. Your prostate is not asking for you to give up every pleasure. It is asking for relief from the daily drip of irritants. By reducing alcohol and replacing it with gentler choices, you reduce inflammation, restore balance, and create the conditions for a healthier, calmer urinary system. You may still choose to enjoy a glass here and there, but when you do, it will be by choice, not by habit. That difference alone can change the entire course of your prostate health in the years ahead. The third drink I want you to pay close attention to is soda, both regular and diet. At first glance, a can of cola or a fizzy lemon-lime soda might seem like nothing more than a sweet pick-me-up. But for your prostate and bladder, these drinks are a triple threat: sugar, carbonation, and artificial additives. Each one on its own can irritate the urinary system. Together, they create the perfect storm for inflammation, urgency, and long-term prostate strain. Let's begin with sugar. When you drink a regular soda, you are sending a flood of refined sugar straight into your bloodstream. That sugar spike forces your body to release a surge of insulin. High insulin levels are directly linked to systemic inflammation, which includes the prostate. Chronic high sugar intake also raises your risk for metabolic syndrome and diabetes, both of which make prostate symptoms worse. Elevated blood sugar encourages the growth of harmful bacteria in the gut and weakens the balance of your microbiome, which in turn fuels low-grade inflammation throughout the pelvis. Many men do not connect the dots between a daily soda and their nightly bathroom trips, but the connection is real and well documented. Now let's talk about carbonation. Carbonated drinks introduce gas into the stomach and intestines. That bloating pushes downward on the bladder and prostate, adding pressure from the outside. For men already dealing with an enlarged prostate, this can be the straw that breaks the camel's back. The extra pressure increases urgency, reduces bladder capacity, and makes it harder to fully empty. Some men notice that within 30 minutes of drinking a fizzy soda, they are already searching for the nearest bathroom. That is not a coincidence, it is a direct result of the way carbonation interacts with your pelvic anatomy. And then there are the additives. Many sodas contain phosphoric acid, citric acid, caffeine, and artificial flavors or colorings. Each of these chemicals can irritate the delicate lining of the bladder and urethra. Artificial sweeteners, especially aspartame and sucralose in diet sodas, are known bladder irritants. For some men, diet soda is even more problematic than regular soda because of the way these sweeteners stimulate the nervous system. Your prostate sits at the crossroads of nerve signals from the bladder, bowel, and pelvic floor. Constant irritation keeps those nerves on high alert, and that overactive signaling often translates into urgency, frequency, and disrupted sleep. So, what can you do if soda has been your comfort drink for years? The first step is to understand that quitting cold turkey is rarely sustainable. Instead, I encourage a gentle taper. Start by replacing one soda a day with a healthier alternative: sparkling water with a splash of lemon, chilled herbal tea, or naturally flavored mineral water without added sugars or sweeteners. Your taste buds may protest at first, but within 2 weeks they begin to reset. What once tasted bland will begin to feel refreshing. Your body adapts quickly when given a chance. Another step is to pay attention to timing. If you enjoy the fizz, have it earlier in the day, not in the evening. Soda consumed at night almost guarantees a restless sleep, as the sugar, caffeine, and carbonation team up to wake your bladder. By shifting to earlier hours and smaller portions, you reduce the strain on your prostate while still allowing yourself occasional enjoyment. There is also a deeper layer here: breaking the cycle of habit. Many men reach for soda not because they are thirsty but because it has become part of their daily rhythm. Something sweet after lunch, something fizzy with dinner, something cold while watching television. If that pattern sounds familiar, try swapping the ritual, not just the drink. After lunch, pour a glass of iced herbal tea with mint. With dinner, try a chilled sparkling water with cucumber slices. In the evening, reach for warm chamomile tea instead of cola. The goal is not to strip away enjoyment, but to redirect it into choices that nourish rather than inflame. Let's also remember hydration. Soda does not count toward your daily water intake. In fact, it often leaves you more dehydrated. The combination of sugar, caffeine, and additives forces your kidneys and bladder to work harder, while plain water quietly restores balance. If you are serious about supporting your prostate, commit to making water your primary beverage. Aim for steady, moderate intake throughout the day, and ease up in the evening so your bladder can rest at night. Your prostate thrives on calm, consistent hydration, not roller coasters of sugar and chemicals. I have seen countless men reduce or eliminate soda and notice profound changes. Fewer nighttime awakenings, less urgency during the day, stronger flow, and even improvements in energy and digestion. Often, they come back and tell me, "I didn't realize how much this one habit was weighing me down." Soda hides its impact because the damage builds slowly, quietly, over years. But once you take it out of the equation, the relief can feel almost immediate. So here is the big picture. Coffee and caffeine wake up the bladder and add acidity. Alcohol drives urgency, weakens control, and fuels inflammation. Soda piles on sugar, carbonation, and chemical irritants, None of these drinks are bad in isolation, but repeated day after day, year after year, they keep your prostate on edge. The good news is that you have control. By making simple swaps, herbal teas for soda, water for alcohol, low-acid coffee in smaller doses, you can give your prostate the breathing room it needs to calm down, shrink back, and restore balance. If you are over 60 and tired of discomfort, urgency, and restless nights, know this. Your prostate is not your enemy. It is responding to what you feed it every single day. Change the inputs, and the outputs will follow. Relief is not about medication alone, it is about daily choices. Start with your drinks. Every calmer sip is a step toward a healthier prostate, steadier nights, and more freedom in your daily life. Your body is capable of healing, and the best time to begin is now.